Everything you do, no matter what, there's a reason. The why. Why are you doing it? Hell, why am I doing this? It's getting dark out, so I had to get this in now. I was thinking recently, had a lot of different events happen, a lot of different acceptances that I didn't want to accept, but I had to, I guess. Things that'll tear you down, sometimes accepting them, you still have to. You've gone your whole life and you've worked hard and you've done everything that you thought you were supposed to do. And you may say to yourself, I worked so hard. Why did I work so hard? Why did I get myself in this position? Why did I mess up my life? Why did I mess up decisions? Why have I messed up other people's lives? Those are all whys. And you got to say to yourself, well, hell, what type of why do I have, right? I know, man, dating back to elementary, middle school, high school, I always said to myself, man, no matter what, I want to be the most popular kid, right? I want to be the most well-known, not even popular. I just want everybody to know who I am. Man, that probably came from, growing up as a single parent household, didn't have no family. I didn't have siblings. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding that. I didn't have a support system, man. I only had my mother growing up, man. That's it. That's all I had most of my life growing up, right? Until I hit later years into, probably like middle school, high school. But during my nurturing time, I only had one person, man, and I believe that was probably the why originally. And I realized that by watching my mother and what she had become and what she worked hard to be, she had created a life that is shown me that hard work will get you anywhere that you want to get, right? So I had a why of, why did I work so hard? Why did I want to become the most well-known? Why did I want to always work harder than everybody else? Because it's all I knew growing up. A lot of the time growing up is the reason why we're shaped the way we are. For me, some things that happened in my life when I was growing up originally that had changed my mind, or at least manufactured a reality about, let's say, certain sexual things. Growing up, man, I thought a certain thing was completely normal. Literally completely normal, and it rewired my brain growing up. And then, you add in watching, porn and all that stuff, it's gonna get you, right? All that stuff rewires your brain. So as you grow older, you start to realize, man, I made all these mistakes. I was using all these people, or you was abusing all these people. Whatever it is that you were doing wrong, you had a why. Why did I do that? Because when I was younger, something had happened to me that I thought was completely normal. I didn't even bring it up because to me, I just thought that's what people did. Because the culture I grew up in around the area was a certain type. What was brought up in my own home, though, obviously strict, knew what was right or wrong. But things start to skew because you're young and you don't really understand what's going on, right? So a lot of the time, those early instances will mess you up as the future goes on, right? That's why whenever, I look at women, let's say, I have a hard time with thinking about actually bringing somebody else in the bedroom, right? There's sometimes that the little things that you've seen on the internet and all that stuff make you think, man, I think I want to enjoy that. You really don't. Because at the end of the day, once you bring somebody in, it just creates a way for you to let them bring in somebody that would maybe make you feel weird. Because they're going to feel weird too. I don't care what anybody says. So that type of sexuality, it messes with you, man. So you can move on to success. Why do you neglect relationships? Why do you neglect friendships to succeed at a job? Because maybe when you were younger, you had a why. A why was created that you didn't even realize. Your why might have been that you saw people on drugs and people close to you die. Somebody I known super well, man, had somebody close to them, they had died of drugs. And, it probably made them feel a certain way. Me growing up, I was used to that most of my life. Middle school, saw people overdosing, saw people dying. High school, overdosing, dying, shooting, stabbing, killing, all that stuff, man. It happened. Growing up, it was so normal for people to lose their life that it was like, well, nah, man, that's another one, right? Where those people, they see something like that when they're younger, their why is, I never want to be around something like that. I never want to be a part of something like that. I have to strive to be better than whatever environment I'm around because I don't want to fall into that trap. I don't want to be that. And, you know, I say that because a lot of the time, everybody's why is so different. And this is the point. Everybody's why is so different that everybody can't understand why people do what they do. You can't sit there and look at somebody and say, why does that person feel that way? My mind doesn't understand why, because you don't have the same why as them. They don't have the same why as you. The same way that they feel that way is a different reason of why you feel the way that is opposite of them maybe, and why things happen, why sometimes you and your friends don't always see eye to eye, or why you in a relationship, or why you in a boss or leadership. It doesn't matter. You know, everything that you do, the reason you get up in the morning and push through the day, there's a why. I know for me, man, there's times I wake up, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get up and start that day because the mental pressure of what's going on is so much. I actually don't know if I can get through that. But there's a why. I know there's a why. A why got me started. My why is because I want to make an impact, man. I want to make a difference. And I want to find peace. My whole life has been 100 miles an hour, pushing through life, man, neglecting so many things, neglecting friendships. Hell, I went 2 years, 3 years, not even hanging out with anybody because I was down. I was depressed. I was feeling a certain way. I don't want to be around anybody, man. So I put all my eggs into one basket. I just worked and worked and worked. I thought that was my why. That was my why. Why or how am I going to become better? Why do I want to become better at this career? Because I had nothing else. So that became my why. But that's not a good why, right? Why did I do bad in relationships? Because I had the wrong why. I thought that everything I did, if I gave 100% into a career, that was a why. I couldn't do less than that career because my original why was where I grew up and what I've seen growing up. My original why is I never want to be like what I've seen around. I didn't want to be that way towards girls either, man. That's where the Superman syndromes come from, where you think you can save everybody. Bro, they don't want to be saved. Hell, do you even want to be saved? Hell, I didn't want to be saved. I didn't even know that. You know, on the outside, on the inside, I did, man. I did. I wanted to be fixed. I wanted to not be broken. I didn't even realize I was broken because my why was so strong of not being like this. I had neglected my own self to become something more. Ruined everything. So your why, you have to remember, is not the same as somebody else's. You have to find that why and decide, is that why a positive or a negative? Because if it's a negative and you're relying on that why to get you through, you're going to lose everything, man. Don't lose everything. Understand that why may need to be changed. That why may need to be investigated. You may need to sit back and say to yourself, I don't think that's why anymore. Whys can change. You know, I wanted to be successful and I met something and I found peace. And I knew that was it right there. That was it. That was why I worked as hard as I did. My why originally had changed. But I didn't recognize it in time. I didn't sit there and say to myself, okay, well, why do I need to be better at everything else? Because if you're not better at everything else, that why that changed and you found peace and you found what you were supposed to do and you found that goal, it's going to be ripped away, man. Just because you're at the goal, doesn't mean you made it and kept it. It doesn't mean that. You're there. You're right there. You're about to sink it. Right off the post. Because you weren't paying attention. You weren't paying attention to what you were supposed to be paying attention to. Your whys, man. You got to realize, what is your why? And if your why is positive and it's something you believe in, it doesn't matter if that thing is in your life anymore. If you still believe in that thing, I'd rather leave this earth knowing I believed in something. I wholeheartedly believed in something that was true to my heart than to let it go and try to find fake things to fill that. Your belief is your belief. As long as it made a difference in your life and it was positive, then that belief is true, man. That why is the belief. So you just got to stay on top of it, man. Figure it out and keep working towards it. And keep getting after it, man. Steady pressure.